Hello and welcome to my channel, Rhino here. Today I'm taking a break from the idiocy that is Kent Hovind and taking a look at Bible Flockbox again, this time with his opinions on masturbation. So pitch a tent, make yourself an Alabama Hot Pocket, and get ready, cause here we go!
I've gotten several messages on my YouTube channel, mostly from teenage boys, asking me if masturbation is a sin.
I find it incredibly sad that anyone comes to you for advice on sexuality.
The Bible never specifically addresses masturbation, but there's no doubt that the actions that almost always lead to masturbation are sinful. Masturbating often involves lusting after women and/or the viewing of pornography.
So lusting after men is okay? So gay guys can masturbate but straight guys can't? Why the double standard? Although I guess it does make a twisted kind of sense when you take into account that the Bible doesn't allow for gay men to actually fulfill any of their desires with other men, so it's only fair to let them masturbate, right?
And Jesus said in Matthew chapter 5 verses 27 through 28, "Ye have heard that it was said by them of old time, Thou shalt not commit adultery. But I say unto you, that whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her hath committed adultery with her already in his heart."
Woo! Thought crime! Seriously though, if you consider it adultery to lust after a woman that you aren't married to, doesn't that mean that you would have committed adultery with your wife before you married her, whether you had sex or not? It's a very rare wedding where the groom isn't physically attracted to the bride. Did you ever tell your wife that she was beautiful before you were married? If so, that is lust. We have been programmed by evolution to perceive indicators of fertility as beauty, meaning that we want to get down and dirty with the women who look like they could handle childbirth. There's much more to it than that, but basically beauty equals sex appeal, which equals lust. Also, women are apparently allowed to lust all they want, or the Bible doesn't think that they are entitled to an opinion on the matter. Why the double Oh, screw it, the whole bloody Bible is a double standard.
By masturbating and lusting after women, you are basically committing spiritual adultery.
Spiritual adultery? What a joke. My wife doesn't care if I find other women attractive, and I don't care if she finds other men attractive. Now, if I stick my dick in another woman, on the other hand, then she might have a thing or two to say about it. But if I think about it and don't act on it, then what does it matter?
Masturbation also displays a lack of self-control, and the Bible tells us to practice self-control.
Now, self-control is definitely a good thing, but as long as it doesn't affect other areas of your life, is there really any harm in masturbating? If you get addicted to it to the point where you would rather jerk off than have sex with your partner, then it might be an issue. Otherwise, the benefits outweigh any harm. Benefits such as helping prevent prostate cancer, relieving tension so you can think more clearly. Ever try taking an exam after a week or two without any kind of sexual release? Not to mention, if these are teenage boys we are talking about, not masturbating definitely increases the risk of awkward public boners. Sometimes guys just pitch a tent for no reason, and the longer you go without release, the easier it is to get a no-reason boner.
Can your sexual organs be used as an instrument of wickedness?
Yes, absolutely. It's called rape. Unfortunately, the Bible allows it as long as it's a precursor to marriage. Touching yourself in the privacy of your own home is not wicked by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, an article in Scientific American actually explains how the viewing of pornography is helping to prevent violent sexual crimes because the people who would be committing these crimes have a legal and safe outlet for their fetishes instead of having to bottle it up until they lose control.
You better believe it, especially if you are masturbating to pornography or while having sexual fantasies of women.
Your voice inflection there implies that fantasies of men are okay. Are you a closet gay? Because if you are, you should know that the world has changed, and most people would be very supportive of you if you want to come out. You do kind of set off my gaydar, but it might just be that you're European.
Is he gay or European?
A few people have asked me how to stop masturbating. My best advice is to get married.
Yeah, because if you're 13 and still facing 3 to 6 more years of not legally being allowed to get married, that's a great solution. Besides, we all know that married people never masturbate. Side note, is marrying someone just so you can achieve sexual release really a good idea? Maybe this is why evangelical Christians tend to have the highest divorce rate.
Even the Bible says in 1 Corinthians chapter 7 verses 8 through 9, "Now to the unmarried and the widows I say, it is good for them to stay unmarried as I do. But if they cannot control themselves, they should marry, For it is better to marry than to burn with passion.
Burning with passion is rather fun. It actually makes for the best sex. And usually people get married because they do feel passionate about each other. Does that mean that sin is a precursor to marriage? You have to sin to get married?
Now, if you're too young to get married, I would tell you to just avoid obvious triggers that lead to masturbation.
Yeah, that's super easy. Just don't ever talk to any cute girls, or look at them, or go near them. Don't go to a Christian school either. I did. Those skirts they wear with their uniform? No fantasy fodder there, that's for sure. Yeah, definitely nothing in the spank bank from that.
Like looking at internet porn, or anything else that you have noticed stimulates you to masturbate. Job touched on this. He said in Job chapter 31 verse 1, I made a covenant with mine eyes. Why then should I think upon a maid?
Perhaps because we don't use our eyes to think?
Job determined not to unnecessarily look at women in order to avoid being tempted by them in a sexual way. He avoided that temptation by avoiding that trigger. Now, sexual temptations are among the strongest temptations that we have. So, of course, pray about them. God will give you power to overcome your sexual lusts.
Yes, talk to your imaginary friend about it. He will help. But seriously, if his priorities are to help you stop touching yourself instead of feeding starving children around the world, then he's more than a bit messed up.
Aw, look at poor little Timmy here. He hasn't had anything to eat in 3 days, poor kid. Maybe I'll intervene and send him some heavenly manna like I did for the Jews when they were stuck in the desert. Holy shit! Billy here's about to touch his dick. Screw Timmy, I need to intervene to give Billy more willpower to resist his temptation.
1 Corinthians chapter 10 verse 13 says, There hath no temptation taken you, but such as is common to man. But God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it. Also, if all else fails, try some fasting. Fasting can help you overcome your spiritual plateaus.
Yeah, it sure worked out great for little Timmy.
When Jesus' disciples couldn't cast out a demon, Jesus told them, This kind can come forth by nothing but prayer and fasting.
Except Jesus wasn't talking about lust there. He was talking about his superstitious belief that seizures are caused by demons. In modern days, we've discovered and invented medications and treatments for seizures. If you stop taking your meds and rely only on prayer and fasting like Jesus recommended, you're likely to find that your seizures will continue.
With that being said, sexual desires are nothing to be ashamed of. That's part of being a healthy human being.
And so is fulfillment of those desires.
The Bible actually has lots to say about the goodness of sex. However, sex is for marriage and works to bind a husband and wife together in a profound way.
And wives, you mean, plural. Also possibly concubines if the man's rich enough. That's going by the biblical definition of marriage, mind you, which basically allows a man to sleep with as many women as he can afford to keep in his house, whether he's married to them or otherwise. Thanks for watching, everyone, and a special thanks goes out to God for stopping by to do a little bit of voiceover in this episode.
No problem.
If you like it, feel free to rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.